Well, greetings once again. This is Dr. Bill Bailey, and this is VirtZine. VirtZine is the online magazine of virtualization and cloud computing. So, this is the first VirtZine we've had this year. It's been a little while since we've had the last VirtZine, but I'm glad you could join us for this edition. We've got some things to talk about from the blog. Of course, the VirtZine blog is VirtZine.com, as it says there on the screen. Check that out for information and news on virtualization and cloud computing. Now, the first item we have is VMware has announced a desktop-as-a-service offering on Microsoft's Azure platform. Now, this is unusual for two reasons. One is that VMware had already announced that they were going to use Amazon's AWS service as their platform for a lot of their offerings, and it's unusual that they would use Microsoft's Azure platform. But this is specifically for their desktop-as-a-service, or VDI offering. And the service they're going to be offering is going to be available roughly middle of this year, 2017. So, and it's going to be about $16 per month per user. So if you have an enterprise of 100 people, then you can multiply that out and figure out what it would cost you to have your desktops in the cloud, so to speak, for your company. But I thought that was interesting that they're using Microsoft as opposed to AWS, since they'd already committed to AWS for some of their other services. Next item is 6,600 people are being laid off at Cisco. That's a lot of folks. And this is because they missed their projections in terms of their financial return from their stock. So the stock market reacted to this announcement that they were laying off these folks by the stock actually increasing. So I guess it worked out the way they wanted it to, but 6,600 people losing their job at Cisco is not a good thing. And of course, we know that Cisco is a key player in virtualization and cloud computing. So I wanted to mention that as a news item. Next thing I want to talk about is security. Security issues in virtualization. Now, it's generally accepted that virtualized servers are more secure than physical servers. And of course, they can be made even further more secure in a virtualized environment. Now, the argument can be made that a containerized server, like using Docker, might even be a little bit more secure. But there was a recent Pod to Own event, you know, where they had these events where they invite people to come in and try to disrupt or find security issues. And in this Pod to Own event, they did demonstrate that if you have a virtualized server running on top of a virtual platform, a hypervisor, then that virus or infection or exploit can actually go into the host that is the hypervisor running the virtualized server, because that is a layer of software, and so it can actually transfer from one to the other. It's kind of scary. So this is something we need to be aware of, which is why more and more there are applications that allow basically virus checking, virus activity to be determined on the host level rather than on the virtualized client level. So something to keep in mind, and I encourage you to read the article for more detailed discussion of this particular issue. Now, the last article I want to talk, or the last thing I want to talk about, is this article on lessons from the Wannacry event that occurred. You know, this has been in the news a lot, this Wannacry ransomware. Ransomware is designed to essentially infect the PC or the system and encrypt the files so they're not recoverable, And then you're supposed to pay the person to unlock the files. Now, of course, the problem is, pay me once, shame on you, because pay me twice is what's going to happen. They're going to come back and want more money. And so this is not a good thing. You need to be able to back up your files, back up your data, and if your system becomes encrypted, just wipe it, reinstall Windows, and restore your data. That is really the safe way to do this. Okay, so this particular article from Virtualization Review talks about the fact that this Wannacry on May 12, 2017, this new strain of ransomware, wasn't designed by some genius hacker. It was just pieced together from essentially a kit that the NSA had created and, kind of hobbled together very poorly in a sense, but very effectively. And it was defeated by a guy who discovered that the ransomware application would go out to the network and look for a website. If that website existed, it would actually stop. So he registered the website, and once he registered it, it stopped the attack. So for, $10 or however much it cost to register the website, he was able to stop the Wannacry attack, which is pretty cool. Kudos to him for doing that. But the article goes into detection and prevention of the Wannacry ransomware, and also how to mitigate it, what to do to actually get rid of it. But like I said, the key thing here is back up your data, have a good backup, patch your server or your system or your PC with the latest security patches. Microsoft has released a security patch for Windows that will prevent Wannacry from operating. So go out and do your security patches. That's the key thing you need to do. A lot of businesses have gone kind of crazy, trying to quickly patch all their systems. If you just keep patching up to date on a regular basis, you wouldn't have to scramble when one of these worldwide virus or ransomware events occurs, and you'd be a lot better off be able to sleep at night. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage you to read this article, read the details of how to circumvent this, make sure you don't get infected, because you sure don't want to pay the ransom. Above all, don't pay the ransom. Go to your backups, restore your data, you'll be in much better shape, and you won't get taken advantage of. All right? So, hope you enjoyed this particular edition of VirtZine. Join us again next time. Remember, until then, to keep your head in the cloud.